Hello everyone, welcome to Deeksha online class. Today will be the last lecture in the topic animal diversity. In the earlier classes, we have studied about the kingdom. As we know, there are 5 of them. Then we took up animal kingdom, and as we classified, we studied it. Animal kingdom has 2 parts, namely non-chordata and chordata. We learnt non-chordata has protozoans, porifera, coelenterata, ctenophora, platyhelminthes, ascalminthes, annelida, arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata, and hemichordata. The order is important. Then we also learned that chordata was classified as cephalochordata, urochordata, and vertebrata. Vertebrata, which is also called as craniata, was divided into 2 parts, namely agnatostomata, meaning no mouth organism, no jaws, and gnathostomata. Gnathostomata was further divided into pisces and tetrapods. Pisces was further divided into chondrichthyes and osteichthyes. In tetrapods, we have amphibians, till where we have already studied. In today's class, we will be studying first reptilia, then aves, and finally mammals. That will wind up the topic. Now continuing from reptilia, we see the characteristic features of reptilia now. Reptilias were the first terrestrial organisms, and hence they had creeping and crawling type of locomotion. These organisms were well developed but had certain parts yet developing to the fullest. For example, they did not have ear pinna, which is the external ear. They just have an opening of the ear which occurs behind the eyes. So now, if you see this organism, here is the eye, and just behind it, if you see this region, this is the tympanic region. This tympanic region occurs just as a membrane which continues as a canal system which carries the sound waves inside. But like mammals, or the most characteristic feature in mammals is pinna. This pinna is yet absent. The tubular passage in between represents the development of external ear. So, it is still in the process of evolution. These animals have dry skin which did not have any kind of glands, because of which the skin appeared like scales, which is also called as plates or scutes. If you see a snake or a lizard, you will find a scaly region which is unlike the fishes. In fishes, we have small scales coming together throughout the body. In case of lizards or a crocodile, or in case of any kind of reptiles, you see a continuous dry area which can be completely peeled off. That is the scale. This scale kept the animal completely waterproof, meaning to say these are the first animals which walked on land. So, they were in direct contact with the sunlight. They did not get moisture from water. They should restore the amount of water what they have in their body. This scales protected them from the desiccation part of it. These animals were carnivores. They fed on various insects. So, if you observe, there are certain examples of lizards which is present here. If you see, the first one is the Caucasian rock lizard. The second one is just a house lizard, and this particular one is a garden lizard. Here is an example we see in terms of turtles. Now, turtle scutes are very important to be understood. Why? Because if you see, these plates are all separated, which comes together and forms into a single shell-like structure. Whereas in other reptiles, we will see that the complete scute is together. So, we can understand that these tortoises and turtle scales is very hard. They don't shed it off, it keeps adding layer after layer, and they are of different sections. If you look at the entire body, they have 4 regions: the head, neck, trunk and the tail. If we are going to understand the physiology of these animals, we see that since they are land animals, they have well developed respiratory system in the form of lungs. But certain exceptions are still there, like turtles respire through cloaca. These organisms, being invertebrates, have an excellent endoskeleton. Endoskeleton is made up of bones. Coming to their locomotory organ, they have paired limbs. They belong to the class of tetrapods, and hence they have forelimbs and a pair of hind limbs. Unlike amphibians, both forelimbs and hind limbs have 5 digits, and hence we call them pentadactyl animals. These digits end in claws. So if these are the digits, it ends in claws like this. So these animals are very well developed for living on land. These animals continue to have three-chambered heart, except the crocodiles. Crocodiles and alligator have four-chambered heart. These animals are yet cold-blooded animals, meaning poikilothermic. These animals take the temperature from external conditions. In external environment, how the temperature rises or cools down, their body temperature also rises and cools down. These animals prefer to have colder, shadier places. For example, even a lizard or a snake which is there in desert, in the daytime it does not come out. It tries to find a small rock or a shadier place and hide behind that to keep their body as cool as possible. The reason behind it is they cannot manipulate the temperature from within. In their homeostasis, they do not have any capacity to control their body temperature. This can be done only by homeotherms like birds and mammals. So these creatures are very much dependent on the external temperatures, and hence we call them ectothermal. These animals have a well developed kidney. They have a pair of kidney which is working like a excretory organ. Now they have very less water around it. Hence they prefer to throw out the nitrogenous waste in the form of uric acid. I would like to repeat the types of excretory products in all organisms once more so that you understand here better. We have ammonia, urea and uric acid. Ammonia is the most toxic form. The least toxic is uric acid. This is intermittent. So these ammonia, since it is so toxic, it requires a high amount of water. They have to be diffused out of the body immediately. So this is seen in freshwater animals like Ostectus. Whereas uric acid requires least amount of water to be thrown out of body, and hence it is seen in organisms like reptiles and aves which require less amount of water for survival. Urea, as I told, is in between. It is seen in most mammals. They don't require too much water to be thrown out, neither do they require very less water, and it is intermittent toxic substance. Now continuing with the topic, in these lizards or in these reptiles, they have different sexes. In other words, the sexes are separated. Fertilization of male and female gamete happens internally. Then they lay eggs. Hence they are called as oviparous animals. The young one which comes out of the egg is directly looking, or it is immediately looking like the older one. Hence, there is no larval stage. We call it as development is direct. So, I repeat again, the sexes are separate, there is mating going to happen, fertilization is internal, and then they lay eggs, which is a zygotic form growing into an embryo. And this embryo growth happens outside the body of the female. And once the eggs hatch, we see a young one which is exactly identical to that of the older one. Hence, we say development is direct. We have several examples associated to reptiles, starting chelone, which is turtle, testudo, tortoise, chameleon, tree lizard, calotus, garden lizard, crocodilus, crocodile, alligator, alligator, hemidactylus, wall lizard, poisonous snakes such as naja cobra, Bungarus, crate, vipera, viper. A very nice name here, naja cobra, I would like to elaborate. Now, in biological nomenclature, in binomial nomenclature, there are certain forms where the generic name and the specific epithet are same. In here, the generic name is naja and the specific epithet is also naja. So, we call it as naja naja, which is a cobra. Such names are called as tautonyms. I know it is a deviated point. You can always remember these are the kind of questions which you can expect in future classes coming. So, naja naja, which is a cobra, is a tautonym. Both generic and specific name is same. So, continuing with more number of examples here, we can see that the class of Reptilia is divided as Chelonia, chelone, testudo and Tyrannex come under this classification. In here, we can see mostly the turtle-like or tortoise-like organisms existing here. Then you have Rhynchocephalia, that is phenodon. Now, this is another interesting organism. This organism is very old. You can say that this is one of the earliest evolved reptiles. This evolved reptile was the first formed reptiles also, you can say. Meaning to tell, in the due course of evolution, this organism should have been extinct because many other modernized or evolved reptiles have come into picture. But no, Sphenodon is very strong, it is still living. But since it is so old, we call it as living fossil. But now the question is, how did this old version of reptile get extinct? We know dinosaurs are extinct today. The reason behind this is, this has a geographical barrier around it. Neither did this organism require to evolve further, nor did an evolved organism become a predator to it. This is endemic only to New Zealand area. As we know, New Zealand is an island. Other organisms could not become a predator on it, and neither did this organism get any kind of competition, because of which it did not evolve at all. Crocodilia, Crocodilus palustris, Indian crocodile or magarmach. Alligator, Gavialis gangetica or the Indian ghadial are certain other classification of reptiles. Then we have squamata, where we have lizards. Hemidactylus wall lizard, chameleon, and Draco comes into picture. Now Draco is another organism which is very interesting. These Draco looks exactly like lizard, but the skin in between the forelimbs and hind limbs are extended. So if we are considering this to be a lizard, and this is a forelimbs of the lizard, and this is the hind limbs of a lizard, the extended region, this region, extended region of skin appears like a wings. It cannot fly, but moving on to a tree top, it can glide to a lower position. This is how Draco behaves like a predator or behaves like a predator and escapes as a prey. So what does it do? Whenever there is a predator or any organism of this sort, it climbs up a tree or a mountain, goes to a greater height and glides from there with the help of flap of skin. Moving on, the next one is snakes. After snakes, we have types of snakes are Naja cobra, Ophiophagus, Hana, the king cobra, Bungarus, the crate, Dobia, the viperous, Rasali, that is the chain viper, and non-poisonous snakes as Tias, rat snake, Tropidontus, grass snake or pond snake, and so on. We all agree that the organisms are much more number of species exist in Reptilia, but few of them are noted here. Let's quickly revise back Reptilia. Always remember, when we are revising, we should have an order for revision so that we do not miss out on points. First is always habitat. Next came habit. Then came digestion, respiration, circulation, locomotion, excretion, nervous system, sense organs, reproduction, fertilization, and development. So let's go one by one. Habitat. It is a terrestrial form. Habit. This comes under vertebrata, hence it has the highest type of habit. Organ system level of organization. Triploblastic. Eucoelomate. Digestion is complete, meaning to say it starts from mouth and moves up till anus, but anus opens in the form of cloaca I hope you remember what is cloaca. Cloaca is a common opening for excretory product, digestive waste and the reproductive products. Moving on to respiration, it is a landform and hence lungs takes care of respiration. But we learnt another exception, turtles also respire through cloaca. Circulation, these are poikilotherms and ectothermal. They have 3-chambered heart. Two auricles and one ventricle. Again, here there is an exception. Crocodiles and alligators have 4-chambered heart. Locomotion, creeping and crawling type. Tetrapods, pentadactyls. Excretion, pair of kidneys and the excretory product is uric acid. Nervous system, well developed with 10 pair of cranial nerves. Sense organs, tympanum present as a hearing sense organ, nictitating membrane present around the eye. Reproduction, sexes are separate. Fertilization, internal. Development, oviparous forms and direct development. I hope Reptilia is clear to you all and the summary you can understand easily. Moving on to the next class, it is aves. Aves are a class where we see birds. The body is boat shaped and streamlined, very important for flying. Other than this, they reduce their friction or the resistance which is created by the air with the help of streamlined body. They cut across the wind. Feathers and wings are also going to help them fly better. So, feathered bipeds. Moving on, exoskeleton contains feathers which again help them in flight. You will see birds, most of the characteristic is directed to how to fly. These feathers not only help them to fly but also helps them as insulation. We know birds are the first homeotherms. They need to keep up their body temperature, maintain the body temperature, and hence the feathers behave like an insulator. The skin is dry, non-glandular except one oil gland, what we call it as uropygial. Uro means tail. Near the tail, the pygial gland is there. You would have seen whenever a bird is sitting in a branch or anywhere and resting, it keeps poking its beak near the back. The reason is it keeps picking up the oil from the back and lubricating the feathers so that if it comes across the water or something like that, it doesn't get soaked. Sound producing syrinx. So, their vocal sac is called as syrinx. We all like birds chirping So this chirping sound comes from the vocal cord which is there, and it is named as syrinx. Now this is a picture of bird. We can see their body is tiny, boat shaped, streamlined structure. Beak also helps in cutting across the wind, and the wings help them fly along with the feathers. Their four limbs is modified into wings, and the hind limbs is positioned in such a way that they don't have difficulty in walking. Endoskeleton is fully ossified. So we can't think that the bones of birds are weak. It is completely ossified. It is a bone. It is not a cartilage. But they are hollow. Such a bone is named as pneumatic bone or hollow bone, which again gives them lighter weight for flying. Forelimbs are modified to form wings. Hind limbs are shifted forward for the body to balance while they sit or walk. Mouth is bounded by beak covered by horny sheath. Very important for these birds to have a hard beak so that they can break open a seed or catch an insect very easily. Digestive tract of bird has additional chambers such as crop and gizzard. If you remember, last time we spoke of crop and gizzard was in insects. Amongst vertebrates, only aves have such a modification. Again, this modification is done so that the bird can be more lighter, as they have lot of air sacs, air bladders associated with the lungs, so that this digestive system makes space for them. This is also with due respect for making the body of birds lighter, fluffier, so that they can fly. They show pulmonary respiration, meaning lungs, supported by air sacs. As I was just now saying, the digestive system is modified in such a way that they make space for these air sacs around the lungs, which makes the body lighter and it can fly easily. Air sacs helps in double respiration and also acts as an internal cooling agent. What is double respiration? Here, once the air goes in, it necessarily don't breathe immediately. It takes a little gap. Why? It can have a stored amount of air for the second part of respiration. So double respiration happens here. So air is collected in the air bladders, and because the cold air is within the organism, the temperature can be cooled from within. Though we understand these organisms are homeotherm, they cannot increase their body temperature too much. They have to maintain it in a constant temperature. Heart is complete, 4-chambered, and as I told, these are homeotherms. Now, look at the anatomy of this bird. This is the lungs. You can see here 2 chambers of lungs being present, but additionally you can see the air sacs which is filling up extra air for double respiration. You can also look at the digestive tract starting from esophagus but moving on to crop, gizzard and intestine. Unlike humans, where we would have had crop and stomach and then intestine. Sexes are separate. Sexual dimorphism is seen. We all have seen peacock and peahen. We easily can identify a cock and a hen because they look pretty different. This differentiation is called as sexual dimorphism. In case of reptiles, sexes were separate, but we could not make out which is a male reptile and which is a female reptile. Fertilization is internal, oviparous, and development is direct. So these organisms again lay eggs. Moving on, we understand and see certain examples. Corvus, crow. Columba, pigeon. Cytocula, parrot. Struthio, ostrich. Nephron, vulture. Aptenodytes, penguin. Certain major flight adaptations of birds, as we have seen, is feathers, wings, powerful breast musculature so that it can move, pneumatic bones, endothermy, high metabolic rate, and keen sense of vision. Endothermy, it is able to control body temperature from inside. We saw the cooling agent as air bladders. High metabolic rate. So, very quick metabolism, quick digestion, quick respiration, quick circulation, high metabolic rate. Keen sense of vision. Especially while flying high, the predator birds need to catch its prey much below it. So, its vision is very sharp. Now, we move on to the classification of apes. The first one is Ratidae, or what you call it as Paleognathae. Ratidae includes the modern flightless running birds like lungfishes and marsupials. Flightless birds exhibit discontinuous distribution, meaning to say that these birds such as hen, ostrich, kiwi, penguins, these do not fly. But if we are going to literally look into these birds, this is not in a common set of evolution. These have come in evolution, then suddenly there was no evolution from this end, and then they again came back some part later. So these birds were discontinuous type of evolution they have exhibited. Flightless birds are characterized by reduced wings, a raft-like sternum without keel. Males are with penis, C-rings, clavicles, preen glands are absent. Now, let's see one by one. I think reduced wings is very easy for us to understand. It's very clear that wings amount is reduced, hence they can't carry the body weight and fly. Now, speaking of the sternum, if we actually look at a pigeon, parrot or any flight birds, the below part of the body, the sternum region has an upthrust movement for flight. Whereas, if we are looking at a flightless birds, the upthrust is not there because of the type of sternum they have. They do not have a sternum which will give a upper thrust and which could help them in flight. These flight birds were the forms from which the engineers and scientists designed the flight of or the shape of the aeroplanes. So you can understand that if I make a flat aeroplane at the base, it wouldn't fly. Males are having penis. Now, don't you think this is a very important characteristic which has showed evolution in future? Yes. C-rings, the vocal cord, clavicles, the shoulder bone and the preen glands are absent. Now, these are important in a way to say. C-rings, it's more for a voice box. I am not speaking in terms of flight in this case, but clavicles, the shoulder bone, very important for the wings to be in more agile condition, to be able to fly higher, to fly strongly, but the clavicle is absent. Flying birds, examples are Corvus crow, Columba pigeon, Cytiluca parrot, pavo, peafowl and so on. Aptenodytes penguin, Neophron vulture, Coraceus bengalhensis blue jay. So, flightless birds scientific names are Struthio camillus African ostrich, Apteryx kiwi national bird of New Zealand, Rhea American ostrich, Dromaeus, emu, Cassurius, and so on. Let's quickly revise the entire aves. And when we revise, how do we revise? We first have habitat. Habitat, when you see, they prefer aerial conditions, but we also see birds which is terrestrial and aquatic. Then comes habit. Similar to reptiles, as these are under vertebrates and it is of the highest classification, it also shows organ system level of organization, triploblastic, eucoelomate. Then comes digestion, which is complete, starts from beak, mouth, ends at anus. Respiration, lungs with air bladders or air sacs. Then we have circulation. These are homeotherms. Endotherms, and they have 4-chambered heart. Okay. Then we move on to locomotion, very important in this case. They have pair of wings for flying, hind limbs brought forward for walking, pneumatic bones which make the body lighter, and streamlined body shape which cuts the wind through. Then we have nervous system and sense organs which is well developed. Then we have the reproduction. Sexes are separate. And fertilization is internal. Development is direct. So I hope you are clear with the complete summary of birds. We move on to the last class, that is Mammalia. Mammalia are found in various habitats such as polar ice caps, desert, mountains, forests, dark caves, aquatic and terrestrial. Mammary glands become the most important modification or evolution seen in case of mammals, where the young ones are fed and nurtured. Different types of teeth are present in the socket of jaws. They are differentiated into incisors, canines, premolars and molars. Permanent teeth develop after the milk teeth drops off. So in short, if I have to tell, I would go for 3 words. Thecodont, meaning to say the teeth is embedded into jaws. Heterodont, different type of teeth such as incisors, canines, premolars and molars. And diphyodont, meaning to say 2 sets of teeth, one milk teeth and the other permanent teeth. So I repeat, thecodont, jaws are important in this case because teeth is embedded into jaws. Heterodont, different types of teeth, and diphyodont, two sets of teeth. So we can see here polar bear, which is present in polar ice caps, kangaroo, and so on. Digestive tract is complete with digestive glands. External ear or pinna is present. This is another important characteristic. Homeotherm and endotherm. These are. They exhibit only pulmonary respiration. Immaterially, they are in water, land, or air. They exhibit pulmonary respiration. Meaning to say, whales and dolphins, though they are mammals, they exhibit aquatic lifestyle. They breathe only air and not dissolved oxygen. Respiration takes place through lungs. Heart is four-chambered and aortic arch turns upward towards left. Exoskeleton includes feathers, hair, fur, nail, claws, horns and hooves. All are not present in everything. A mixture, one or two, is present in various forms. Limbs adapted for walking, running, climbing, burrowing, swimming and flying. Now here is a pic of a whale. You can see the whale is jumping higher above the water so that it can breathe. By any chance little water enters the nose of these whales, it spouts back. It is just like us. Sexes are separate and generally show sexual dimorphism. We can surely identify a man from a woman. This exhibits a strong sexual dimorphism. Male have copulatory organ or what we call it as sex organs, which helps them for mating. Fertilization is internal. Female is generally viviparous, meaning to tell they give birth to young ones. They don't give rise to eggs but to young ones. Prototherians or egg-laying mammals also exist. Echidna is one such example. This is the first formed mammals just from reptiles. So certain reptilian characters are still there like oviparous condition. But otherwise metatherians, that is kangaroo, and eutherians like humans, both of them are viviparous. Only prototherians are egg laying. So certain examples here: oviparous form Ornithorhynchus platypus, viviparous Macropus kangaroo, Pteropus bat, Camelus camel, Macaca monkey, Ratatus rat, Canis dog, Felis cat, Elephas elephant, Equus horse, Delphinus common dolphin, Balinoptera blue whale, Panthera tigris tiger, Panthera leo lion. So here are the pics of various mammals. So along with the scientific name, Ornithorhynchus is called as duck-billed platypus. Macropus is called as kangaroo, Pteropus flying fox, Camelus camel, Macaca monkey, Ratus rat, Canis dog, Felis cat, Elephas elephant, Equus horse. Delphinus dolphin, Balinoptera blue whale, Panthera tigris tiger, Panthera leo lion, antelope state animal of Andhra Pradesh, Indian bison state animal of Telangana, and so on. Let's quickly revise the entire mammals. First, habitat. It is aquatic, terrestrial, arboreal, that is tree dwellers, and cave dwellers. Habit, it is the highest form of animals, so obviously they are organ system, level of organization, triploblastic, eucoelomate. Then we come across the next stage of digestion, complete. Respiration, pulmonary respiration seen with the help of lungs. Circulation, four-chambered heart, and double circulation, that is, impure blood is carried from heart to lungs, purified, comes back to heart, and from heart through systemic circulation goes to all the body systems, and then the impure blood or the deoxygenated blood is back to heart. Homeotherms and endotherms. Locomotion, it is tetrapedal or bipedal. Tetrapedal in most animals, bipedal in humans. We also see flippers in whales and dolphins. Next comes is nervous system, well developed with 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Sense organs are also very well developed. Moving on to reproduction. Sexes are separate with sexual dimorphism seen. Fertilization, internal, development, direct. But in terms of embryogenesis, first, prototherians exhibit oviparous egg-laying conditions. Meta and eutherians exhibits viviparous. I hope mammals is also clear to you. Now, understanding the chapter, we need to reinforce the concept, so we do homework questions. Golden Age reptile is Cenozoic era, Devonian period, Carboniferous period, Mesozoic era. Now, this question is from evolution. I want you all do a little bit of search. If you can find it, good. Otherwise, we discuss it in the online class. Reptiles with four-chambered heart are turtles, lizards, snakes, and crocodile. Functional adult kidney in reptile is pronephric, mesonephric, metanephric, or absent. In this case, again I will be helping you in online class after you have done your homework. Functions of Jacob's organ is auditory, olfaction, tactile, and gustatory. Reptile without copulatory organ is Sphenodon, Hemidactylus, Bungarus, Crocodilus. Living fossil reptile is turtle, snake, Sphenodon, crocodile. King cobra is Naja, Bungarus, Ophilophagus hana, Vipera rasalis. A characteristic feature of bird is homeothermy, feathers, four-chambered heart, scales on legs. Long bones with air cavity occur in Aptenodytis, Crovis, Pteropus, Bungaris. The study of feathery bipedal vertebrate is botrachology, ichthyology, ornithology, keratology. Aves originated from theropod dinosaurs, ostilipids, Eusthenotron, Archaeopteryx. Question 12. Aves originated during Devonian period, Jurassic period, Carboniferous period, Silurian period. Question 13. Special sound producing organs in bird is furcula, larynx, syrinx, keel. Comb-shaped vascular structure present in the eye of bird is carina, furcula, pecten, pygostyle. National bird of India is pavo, kiwi, coraceous, neophron. All the best students, do your homework well.